Hey guys, I wanted to talk about a topic that's not very popular today in journaling, and that's getting rid of used journals. And I was wondering how many of you have gotten rid of used journals, or if you've never gotten rid of any of them, you kept them all, or if you get rid of all of them all the time, or what. But anyway, this summer I decided to get rid of about 27 or 28 used journals just because these were ones that I either rushed through or never really bonded with, or just somehow didn't connect with. And I wanted my used journals to be ones that I really cherished and that had a lot of memories in it, and the ones right here just didn't. I did keep some pages out of these for a while. I tore them out and stuck them in a bag right here. So I'm going to use these pages. I'm going to look through them later and get rid of most of that. But I might use some of those as journal prompts. I might rebind some of those into like a small little packet of these, because some of the pages did have some meaningful stuff, but a lot of it was just stuff that a lot of these just felt rushed, or they just didn't work out for me. Like this one was an limited edition moleskin, and I was kind of on a kick of buying limited edition moleskin. I think it's just a scarcity effect that made me lure me in. But the design's fun. It's just not something that really inspires me or is really relates to me at all. It's just kind of a random design. And so yeah, this is the first one. This was 2011, and that one is one of the ones to go. Some of them, like this one, didn't even work out when I was using it. So this one, I did tear some of the stuff out in here to keep in that bag of pages that I'm still looking through. But even back then, it was a chunky little journal, but I'd torn about half the pages out even back then when I was using it, just because I didn't like it. I'd spray paint, it was leather, and I spray painted it, and the spray paint kept getting off on everything, and I just didn't enjoy using this one at all. Not because of the design, it's just mostly because I tried to decorate it to make it look a little bit different, and that just didn't work out, and I just felt like using something different. And that's kind of what I decided to why I decided to use multiple journals at the same time now, because sometimes journals are fine on their own. It's just you get bored with it, or you want a different type of paper, different design, size, something. And I think having multiple journals going on at the same time now will kind of make me not feel like I have to rush through to be able to finish this one so I get to use the next one. I think I can just like dedicate more to each journal now that I don't try and just use one at the same time. Most of the time since I've been journaling, I have used just one at the same time. But there have been times that I had one that was more kind of like a purse journal, like left in my bag, or took it with me to campus or work or whatever. But most of the time, it's usually like one or two at the same time. But now I've got about 5 at the same time, really about 6. And just kind of ones that don't feel obligated to use. If I decide I don't want to use any of those right now, I'll just put it to the side and use it again later. So I think that'll help me not feel rushed and not end up with journals that just I never really connected with. So yeah, this one. This is another one. I really love leopard print. But these, I didn't thin this journal. It's one of the huge ones. I didn't thin it out before I started using this in 2015. Or it might have been 2016. Let's see. Christmas 2015, early 2016. Anyway, that didn't work out back then, so I left it like it was, because I was either going to tear out the pages and rebind it and make it narrower, or just finish it later. And I mostly was just going to tear it out, rebind it, make the whole thing thinner so it would be finished. But yeah, this one, these don't work for me. This type of journal doesn't work for me unless I thin them out, because they just don't lay flat, and they're physically heavy. And they work so much better, and they're so much more enjoyable when you thin them out enough that they can actually lay flat. This is not all gonna fit in that trash bag. And if you do clean out your journals, I really would suggest thinking about it for a while before you throw them out, or even before you tear out pages, and maybe even putting them in a box to the side or something for a while, a few months, a year, like however long you want, to just make sure that you really want to get rid of them. But I've been thinking about doing this kind of casually for a while. Even a handful of years ago, I was like, if I ever am like 80 years old and I have 200 journals or something, I could picture myself getting rid of some of the ones that I felt rushed through. Like this one, I filled in about 3 weeks back in 2015. just because the paper in here was so bad. It smelled like bleach. It was bleach white. It smelled bad. The texture bothered me. I just couldn't enjoy using this, even though I liked the design. I had this printed out at a photo printing website, so I chose this photo, and I really liked the cover, but the paper is just so bad I couldn't enjoy this journal at all. So anyway, this was kind of the ones I was like, I might not always keep that one. So I have been thinking about doing this for a long time, and I'm just gonna quickly show them. But yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to see how many of you get rid of journals, or if you always have kept all of them. This one I used in 2015. I did tear some pages out that I'm gonna look through later and see if I want to keep any of them. So that's kind of why it's more thin than the usual. But I did back then cut out like half the pages just because I didn't thin it out. This size of the journal doesn't work for me unless I thin it out, so it can lay flat. And I just rebound the whole thing so it would be narrower. The cover is really, like, that's a cool looking design. It's just the size and binding didn't work for me. I like Peanuts or Snoopy enough, but like it's not really, I'm not like a huge fan or anything. It's just another limited edition Moleskine. These that I decorated. This one was from 2009, and this is an old Mead one. The paper is a bit too white, like bleach white. This one's from 2018. A handful of these are from 2008. Like this is from 2018 also. So is this one. And that year I had filled probably about 10 journals at least. This one's from 2018 too. So I just kind of was filling them so quickly that the journals that I'm keeping, still summarizes my life, and it still has all the, ups and downs of everything. So I didn't just get rid of journals that were just sad times or just happy times or whatever. I wasn't trying to, I want my used journals to show, like, all the different phases and seasons of life, and I think they still do, even though I got rid of these. Some of these just were so quick that I still have enough of that year to show all the ups and downs and stuff. And then I also kept some pages that, weren't happy memories, but I still tore them out, put them in that bag, and I'm going to look through later, and I might make like a tiny little journal of some of the meaningful events out of them. So I am keeping some of the stuff from these, just not most of them. Let's see. This one. These I used. Well, this one I used a Rodeo web notebook in. Or was it a web notebook? Rodeo orange notebook. I'm pretty sure it's a web. I think that's a web notebook, but it was a hardcover one, and the paper was kind of just too thin. I just had a lot going on, and I didn't feel like writing, so I didn't connect with it. I put it away for a few months and used it again in early 2018, and I never was excited about using it, even though I love the design. And then this one I used the paper that came with it, and the paper that comes with it is not good. So that made it not be something I could really enjoy. This one, I like the design, but the paper is horrible. I got this one, it's an anthropology one, and I thought the paper would kind of not suck, but it sucks. It's just bleach white. It's reasonably thick enough. It's just the texture and the color bothers me. Like it's almost wide enough that it hurts my eyes. So I rushed through that one. And this one, adding all this stuff to it, I tried to make it have a way to keep it closed, other than it just had a leather wrap around it. But it kind of made the whole thing kind of awkward looking, and just didn't really, I don't know, it just didn't work out. This is part of my prom dress. When was this even from? Let's see. I mean, prom was in 2015, but like I used this journal back then, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me back then. It's sometimes journals that you try to reuse years later. I tried to use that 600-page leather journal I used in 2013 that I loved, and I filled like 600 pages in 3 months. I just loved it so much. I tried to use one of that this year, and it just didn't work. So sometimes journals can work at a certain time in your life, like that design, style, paper type, whatever, and you try to use it years later, and then it just doesn't work out. So I think some of these, if I'd used them at a different time, or if I was in a writing kick or something, it could have worked, but it didn't, and I wasn't, so I'm not keeping them. And I don't think it's like a waste of you know, time or money or anything. Like, we go to restaurants and movies and buy clothes that we don't wear, like stuff, stuff that will pay for an amusement park, a movie, a restaurant, or whatever, and you get to enjoy for an hour. Like, I did get a lot of enjoyment out of these anyway, and I still got to reflect on these after I used them. I documented the process and like vented some emotions while I was using them, so it's not a total waste. I do think if I got rid of every journal ever, like every single time, just never kept one, I think that would make a person miss out on a lot of the reflection and self-awareness and just memory keeping that journaling can be. So I do like keeping most of my journals. I don't want to getting rid of like all of them or even most of them just wouldn't do it for me, but getting rid of some, it's kind of like getting rid of some photos that you took. Like, you still have most of the ones that you really cared about, but just, just some just weren't the meaningful ones. I think that's kind of like what cleaning out these journals has been for me. And I heard one person say it's a waste of money to do this, but I mean, I did get enjoyment out of it, vented some emotions. Like, a lot of stuff we do isn't something that we buy and keep forever. A lot of clothes that we have, we enjoy for, a few years or whatever. Some people enjoy for a few months and switch over, but I usually have clothes for a really long time. So you can still get some enjoyment out of it if you don't keep them forever. But I do think there's a lot of benefit in keeping, at least some or even the majority of your journals, so you can see the ups and downs in life. I just have enough journals that I still can see all those things and the major milestones in life without having the 70, 80 daily journals or whatever that I used, plus the childhood ones and plus the themed ones. It's just kind of a lot, and I like my collection of used journals so much better now. And it just kind of makes the ones I have more meaningful. And the current journals I'm using, I'm kind of more careful about, not careful in like censoring myself, like only putting in happy thoughts or anything, but just putting in, like maybe writing a tiny bit smaller, just trying to enjoy each page more and not feeling like I'm rushing through. This one was from 2014. And this journal was fine. The paper was kind of too white for me, and this I could not get to stay closed back then. I crammed enough crap in it, but it just wouldn't stay shut, and that kind of drove me up the wall back then. I have a 99 random questions tag in here for some reason. I should look up that tag and see what it was, but I don't know. I'm glad I got rid of them. And let me know if you've ever gotten rid of any journals or some of them. I've never gotten rid of used journals until now. Like, not completely used. But I'm glad I'm getting rid of these, and my collection's what I enjoy now. That's kind of my thing in, like, I'm trying to do overall in my life. Like, have stuff that I really like or enjoy or can use. And the used journals I have now are ones that I really, like, are more special. And these kind of, I just never really connected with or shared much with type of thing. Anyway, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully this was interesting. Let me know. Have a good night. Bye.